Hey friends, Rob Phoenix Hexameister here. Hope you're all doing well. Tonight I just kind of keeping in the theme of all the darker, spooky stuff for October. I kind of want to talk about when slash is it right to for hex somebody you perceive to be your enemy? Like, is it ever right to do that? And I mean that's an ongoing discussion within like magical communities and folk magic communities and such for generations. On the face of it, I would say nope, bad. Don't do it. Don't intentionally, because to me, for hexing is to intentionally cause like chaos in someone's life, cause harm to someone. Uh, And just with that in mind, I think that it's wrong to do that. It's wrong just for the sake of doing something bad to somebody, just because you feel like being evil. I think that's wrong. um, and then some would say that, well, the Old Testament is filled with like, hey God, you're awesome. Strike down all my enemies, and they're right. It's filled with that. That's Old Testament magic. That's the God of the Old Testament was a God of vengeance, a God of war, a God of storms, um, and so that's very much within the Judeo-Christian mindset that God will strike down our enemies if we just say, "Hey, God, you're awesome. Kill this person and like ruin his bloodline forever." Not very nice. So anyway, what brought this on is like I've made a bunch of friends through this YouTube channel, and I love you all. Especially some of you. Like sometimes I get stuff in the mail from some friends that I've made, and I got this thing called Crossing. Well, it's just called Crossing. Just says Crossing. But it's a powder from originalbotanica.com. I opened it up. It was sealed. I pulled off. Doesn't smell like anything, but I looked it up, and it was like to basically put crossed conditions on someone, to curse someone, um, to bring misfortune and such. Other sources say it could be used for protection, but protection in the sense that if somebody crosses over it, they're gonna like their life is gonna be fucked up. So it seems like pretty hardcore stuff. I mean, this is not the kind of thing we use here in Pennsylvania, but it says it's more used in like hoodoo and root working and conjure. I mean, all of that is like powwow. I'm sorry about the lighting in here. I've been having a heck of a time getting the lighting right. Like that's too bright. I don't know. I don't know. For some reason, I can't get the lighting right tonight. But anyway, so crossing powder, like very nice for somebody to send this to me, and I'm sure I'll find a use for it. But like as a hexameister, we take magic that's been sent to a client and we return it to sender. And yes, there are occasions when we not just return that, but send like another like punch along with it, to teach a lesson. Like, don't ever do that again. Uh, who am I to say what's right and what's wrong? Um, so yeah, I just wonder like how many, like in like folk magic and folk Christianity, it's like anything goes. I mean, we're only limited by our own personal moral standards, I guess. I think it's ridiculous for us to say, well, the Bible prohibits this or my church prohibits this. Like I used to believe that, or the threefold law or harm it none and all this BS. Um, it's just like I don't know. These are man-made limitations and such by people who thought they were doing the right thing. But I think morals are a personal thing, and there are certain people like in my life that sometimes need reminding that they're messing with the wrong person. A good example I have is we have some neighbors, a husband and wife that live just on our street. Sorry about the dogs if you can hear them right now. They harassed my son for years, and we went to their house and talked to them. We had other neighborhood parents talk to them because they were harassing other kids too, and always accusing the kids of being bad. They were like filming them on their phones, and they would, my son would be over at the park with his friends, and they would come running over with their phones. We're filming you. We're calling the police. We're telling everybody in the neighborhood to watch out for you. And my son is the only brown kid in the neighborhood. And so they're going around telling everybody that he's a bad kid. They probably already think that anyway because it's racist as fuck around here. So us talking to them did no good. Other parents talking to them did no good. I called the police on them several times. It did no good. So finally, my son comes home the one night, this is over a year ago, and says they're bothering me again. And he caught it on video, like them screaming at him just for no reason. So I went down there, I knocked on their door. The husband and wife came to the door. I punched both of them in the face, gave them both a black eye. Then I called the police on myself. And oddly enough, they never did it again. So the moral of this story is sometimes you have to punch a bully. And if that means, somebody keeps messing with you and messing with you and messing with you, and you got to break out the crossing powder, then you got to break out the crossing powder. Because sometimes you got to punch a bully. And I hate to be that guy, but even when I was a kid and I was getting picked on at school, and like I would go home crying because I thought nobody liked me and kids were making fun of me and beating me up, and I would just not fight back because I was too scared and timid. And one of my mom's boyfriends or husbands or whatever would say, just punch him back and then they'll never do it again. Well, I didn't do that. I was too afraid to do that. And so as an adult, I see my son getting harassed by adults, and the police are useless, and talking to them is useless. So they both had a black eye for a couple days, and I paid a fine, and they never did it again. So, sometimes that is the answer, and I hate to be that guy that says that, but sometimes that is the answer, and because sometimes people, they're beyond reasoning with, I guess you could say, and they're not going to stop until you give them back a taste of their own medicine. So anyway, as a Hexenmeister, if somebody comes to me and says, I believe this has happened to me, I believe this person has put this thing on me, believe me, we ask a lot of questions. And we dig deep. We're just, we don't just take it at face value. Like right away, we'll start working to protect them, but then we want to know, like, why? Why do you believe that? Do you know somebody that would do that? Why would they do that? Did you do something to deserve it? I mean, that's just something, like, this has evolved for me into this. Back in the day, I just assumed they were telling the truth, and I did the work. But the older I get, the more I think, maybe this is what you deserve, and I don't want to interfere with that. So anyway, interesting discussion. We're all at a different place in our lives, and we all have different life experiences that color our thoughts on this. There is no right or wrong answer. No matter what you're believing right now as you're watching this and getting furious with me, there is no right or wrong answer, because we're all different. Our life experiences are different, and God speaks to us all in a different way. And I don't know what the purpose of this was. Just kind of like food for thought, throwing it out there. You get this little like thing of powder from a friend, and it just like sparks all this philosophical stuff in your mind. But anyway, that's it. So I hope you're enjoying this spooky season, almost Halloween. Can't wait. And I'll be checking in with you guys again, as always. I hope you watched that video last night where I interviewed Richard Big. Sorry, I was like rooting around through the whole video. Like, my dog was just like whining and crying the whole time, and I was afraid that was getting picked up on the microphone. But then on rewatch, it wasn't. I don't know why. And now the dogs are going crazy, and it's probably getting picked up. I just can't win. So that's it. God bless you guys. Love you all very much, and we'll talk again really soon.